Hello, this is James. Geargias are currently the best control deck that we have, and probably the best deck going into the KC Cup. And the best way to play the best control deck is with Ties of the Brethren. Now, Geargias, they're these little cartoon robots that individually they aren't much, but they like to cluster together into a big combine thresher that's gonna lawnmower your opponent's entire field. So what you do is you have one of your guys, and then you Ties of the Brethren him, and then that lets you get out two more guys, and then you either sit on a protection card or one of your flip cards, and then you can get your flip effects and destroy your opponent's entire board. And what Ties of the Brethren does is it solves the problem of normal summoning, because you only get one normal summon per turn. We don't have enough room in Geargias for like double summon or Arrival Rivals. That totally doesn't work. So with Ties of the Brethren, we can get our Geargias control out and get our destruction effects in. But while I do have one Ties of the Brethren, I banish it in the name of free to play. So we need to find another way to replicate that kind of mass special summoning, and today I will attempt to solve that problem with a 30 card deck using The Grass is Greener. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different types of Geargias monsters. We have Pulse Mines, of course, and we also have all of my revival cards that I have access to. I have 1 Powerful Rebirth, I have 2 Kurogane, and then 3 Burst Rebirth. So the way this works is you get that Grass Looks Greener, and you mill out a bunch of your Geargias, and then you can use your revival cards to pull them out of the grave, and then that way you're not using up your normal summon, and you can get your Geargias out all at once, similar to Ties of the Brethren. But our revival cards are not enough, so we need to utilize Geargias that have effects in the graveyard. So usually Geargias decks just use Attacker Gear. This blows up spell traps. Anchor Gear, this blows up monsters, and then Arsenal Gear, that this guy, he gets kind of buff. He gets up to 2100 attack, and you can also tribute him off for a Gear that you need. So if you want your Anchor Gear, you can tribute your Arsenal Gear, and you can get him out that way. But we're going to use 2 more types of Geargias. We're going to do Accelerator Gear. If you control a Geargias monster, you can special summon this card in defense position, and when he's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can take a monster from the graveyard, you can add it back to your hand. And the most important for this deck is Geargias Mark II. Geargias Mark II, when this card is normal or flip summoned, you can special summon 1 Geargias monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position. So with these Geargias Mark IIs and Accelerator Gears and our revival cards, we are going to pull our Geargias out of the grave and utilize their effects on the following turn. So it's important that you utilize your revival cards during your opponent's end phase. What you're concerned with is Attacker Gear and Anchor Gear. When these guys are special summoned or normal summoned, they can't get their effect off. But if you revive them during your opponent's end phase, you can utilize their effect on your turn. So Powerful Rebirth, this card's great. Use more if you have it. Pulse Mines, this is a fantastic protection card, and it just makes Geargias that much better. Spiritual Earth Art Kurogane, there's 1 or 2 you get from Rex Raptor, and then I got 1, so I have 2. I got 1 from Rex, and then I got 1 from the the weekly, the booster pack, the free card. So I got one useful card out of that, and it was a Kurogane. And so this says, tribute 1 Earth monster, special summon 1 level 4 lower Earth monster from your graveyard except the tributed monster. So this is for, you special summon your accelerator gear, and then you contribute it for your anchor gear. And then, or if you normal summon your Geargia Mark II, you can then tribute, so he gives you attacker gear from the grave, and then you contribute him for anchor gear, and then anchor gear's effect can't get off, but attacker gear's effect can. And of course, we have our 3 flip cards. 3, the spell absorbing life. Flip all face down defense position monsters on the field face up. Flip effects are not activated at this time, but the Gear flip effects are not flip effects. It would have to say like machine / flip / effect, but this is not a flip card. Its effect is when it is flipped. Kind of like the Konami difference between selecting and targeting, and then also one Desert Sunlight for the as an extra flip card. And of course, our 3, the Grasslook Screener, and also 5 just completely random extra deck monsters. Alright, so let's look at some replays. So this is not a replacement for Ties of the Brethren gear. Oh, and we're playing the skill Life Point Boost Alpha, so that if we do get our Burst Rebirths, we can definitely utilize them even after taking 1 or even 2 hits. So if you have Ties of the Brethren, definitely use that. This is just, I'm trying to construct a free-to-play Ties of the Brethren Gear deck. So here's our first replay, and we're playing as Yami Bakura versus Astro Phoenix, the stuff of fangirl dreams. He has the Kaiba icon. Okay. We're going first. In the Gear mirror match, going first is amazing. That doesn't apply here. So we get our Gastric Screener, and we get our mill, and let's see. So we get our anchor, we get Gear Mark II, flip, revival, attacker gear, and accelerator gear. Okay, so that's pretty good. Oh, and we even got one of our... Oh no, that was the one that was milled. Okay, so we play our Gear Mark II, and that lets us get our accelerator gear from the graveyard. Because I know the reason I got accelerator gear and not anchor gear is I know that accelerator gear is going to get wasted, and I want to be able to recover a monster. So there's the accelerator gear, and then we're going to pull Gear Mark II, because then he's going to let us pull another monster from the grave. And then here, okay, so during the opponent's end phase, we activate our Burst Rebirth, and then that lets us get our anchor gear. We're going to set Kurogane, and then we're going to normal summon our Gear Mark II, and that's going to give us 2 Gear monsters. And so we can clear both of these heroes. By the way, so the Ties of the Brethren, and then we're gonna go ahead and attack. The Ties of the Brethren, the 20-card Gear deck, is good against Anki, because in 20 cards you have 3 Pulse Mines, but the power of Pulse Mines in a 30-card deck is greatly diluted. So this is as weak to Anki as many other decks are. So he powers up his Celestial and destroys my anchor, but we have Kurogane. We tribute the Gear Mark II during the end phase, and that's going to let us activate the effect of Gear Anchor on that turn, and our opponent surrenders. Our next replay is against Mako Tsunami, and yeah, he's playing the little fish. He's playing the little fish deck. So we're going second. So the reason that you want to go first in the Gear mirror match is because you get all of your Gears set up, and then your opponent gets their Gears set up, but then you're able to get your Gears going. Okay, so he looks like he bricked. He didn't get any monsters, so he sets all of his back row. We get our grasses greener, and then our good. Okay, so we get an anchor gear, and we got an arsenal gear, and an attacker gear, and an accelerator gear. We're gonna go Gear Mark II. That's gonna give us Gear Arsenal, and then I use Gear Arsenal. I tribute him for an accelerator gear to kind of thin the deck out a little more, and we get 800 damage. So Gears aren't crazy overpowered. Whenever you do this special summoning with Gear Mark II or with Arsenal gear, the monster is always in defense position. We're gonna Kurogane onto the Gear Mark II, get our attacker gear, the one that blows up spell traps, and then now on our turn, we're able to utilize that effect, and we pick the two cards that I think are most likely to be Wall of Disruption, and I pick wrong. I get a Powerful Rebirth and an enemy controller. So now all of our monsters are 0. But we did get our anchor gear out, and he prudently destroys that with his golden flying fish. But Gears are able to refresh themselves, just like Sea Stealth. And so I go for the destroy with attacker gear, and then he was thinking that he wanted to take, and then he would save his card, but his back row gets cleared either way, and then he would just lose his golden flying fish. And he scoops. Because because he made that misplay with the enemy controller, then my Gears were no longer powered down by Umi, and they were able to and the flying fish didn't have the bonus from Umi. So now instead of 1900, 1700, it's 1700, 1900, and we can clear the fish quite easily. Here we're playing against Taya Gardner, and this is the only deck that I hate. Okay, so we get Duel Standby, which is actually pretty good for us. And then so she passes, and then it's our turn. So we have 6 cards. Play Gear Mark II. Gear Mark II is going to special summon. So he does hand or graveyard. We pick the anchor gear from the hand, and then we set our Kurogane, our flip card, and our pulse mines to get our anchor gear properly set up. So it goes Dark World Lightning, like onto the pulse mines. Okay, that's fine. So whatever gets played is going to go into defense. He goes Dark World Dealings, Snow. I think Snow. I never exactly know what this card does. I think it just gives him Rainbow. So he's going to play a bunch of Dark World cards. So I discard the attacker gear so that I can revive it. With Kurogane, I discard Desert Sunlight because I already have a flip card. I want to keep my accelerator gear because he can be special summoned. So he gets another Dark World Lightning. Dark World Lightning onto my spell absorbing life, so I'm going to go ahead and flip it up and gain the life points. And then, so he normal summons his Trance, and then Trance gets automatically defense position from the Pulse Mines. He's going to go Rainbow. Rainbow's also going to get Pulse Mine, but then obviously he chooses to destroy all of my monsters. And then, but we get our Anchor Gear, normal summon our Anchor Gear, and then since we have a Gear monster, we can special summon our Accelerator Gear. And then, with Kurogane, we're going to tribute the anchor gear for the attacker gear, and we can't, since these guys were both summoned this turn, we can't get their effects, but there's just enough difference between attack and defense that we can just clear those monsters thanks to the residual effect of Pulse Mines. That's why Pulse Mines was great. And Dark World decks are terrible. It's pay to win cheese. That's all it is. Okay. Yamabikura versus Bandit Keith. This is Aliens, and how do Geargias do against Aliens? Aliens they're not really a problem because of the. You just have to be aware. You just have to be aware of what the aliens are doing, and you're fine. Like it's not an auto win, but since you can flip up and flip down and get rid of the A counters, the aliens matchup isn't too bad. Okay, so we don't get our grass, so he resets. We see that it's aliens. He didn't like having 2 alien warriors. Oh yeah, no, well no, he's trying to reset for himself. So we are going to since we have 2 Geargias Mark IIs. We're not going to give him more targets for A counters, but we are going to get 1,000 damage on there. He's going to go A cell onto the Geargias Mark II, dump the Catfish monster, and then revive the Catfish monster, and then he destroys my Burst Rebirth. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Burst Rebirth, great for these Geargias decks, because the monster is special summoned from the grave in face down defense position, ready to be flipped by your flip card. So we're going to normal summon our attacker gear and risk the A cell, because he didn't play. Yeah, because when he set 2 cards and then I attacked with my Geargias Mark II, he didn't play it immediately, which he would have done, because then that gets it into the graveyard that much faster, and then on his turn he could have banished it. Now he has to wait. So that's why we risk the attack, and then we suicide the Geargias Mark II to get rid of those A counters. But he gets another A cell, and gets the counters and destroys my flip card. But he does not attack. He could have very easily killed my attacker gear with his Catfish monster, but he does not, and we're going to see why. It's so that he can Brainwashing Beam it, but he waits until my battle phase. So I have to get that 1900 attack point monster off the field, even if it's mine. And we're going to A cell. I wonder, if you flip it face down, does it go back to your side of the field? I mean, if he flips it face down, does it go back to my side of the field? Anyway, so he sets another card, and then he attacks my Accelerator gear. Accelerator gear is going to give me attacker gear back into my hand, and he suicides the alien warrior into my anchor gear. We're going to set that sweet Burst Rebirth. We're going to kill the Catfish monster, and this, I don't know what this is. I have no read on it, but he's already played 2 A cells, so I'm going to assume that it's not an A cell, and I believe that I'm correct. And then, so he sets, this is probably the little baby alien, Baby Gray, and then so we play Burst Rebirth during the end phase, pay 2,000 life points, and then we get our anchor gear, and then he is going to revive his alien warrior, but we have game, so we set our Pulse Mines just for kicks, we normal summon our Geargias Mark II, and then we flip up our anchor gear, and anchor gear is going to let us kill as many monsters as we have other Geargias monsters. And here's our last replay, and this is another dodging the cheese replay. So we're going second. Whenever you see a Prowler or a Kaiba, immediately think beatdown. Always think that. Because everybody already has their Kaibas and Prowlers already all leveled up. So the only reason to use them is to get that winner beatdown skill. So we start off with Flip Card, and Accelerator Gear and Anchor Gear. He passes his first turn. I do that all the time with my Hazy Beatdown deck. It's definitely Hazy Beatdown. So we just set all kinds of stuff to bluff against the Yoke. And we normal summon our Anchor Gear, and then we're going to get more protection with our Accelerator Gear. Now, we don't go for the damage. We flip him into face down defense position, because when he gets out his Hazy monsters, we can pop our flip cards, and then we can destroy at least one of them, whatever that might be. But this is a cheese deck with an extra dripping cheesy monster. He tributes off for the Lava Golem, and then during his end phase, you special summon Burst, or whatever, you Burst Rebirth, and then we special summon in face down defense position our Anchor Gear. Now, I don't flip up, even though I have my Accelerator Gear, and then I could flip up my Anchor Gear and destroy the Lava Golem. I do not do that, because potentially we have game. But it's too easy. It's just a little bit too easy. I sniff the Ebola. So there it is. So we wouldn't have been able to kill him that turn. We're stuck with Lava Golem for a little bit while longer. So there's the special summon, Earth Armor Ninja, into the Paraton. It is now time to activate our flip card. We flip up Anchor Gear, and he scoops, and that's game. But props for creativity with the Lava Golem. I have not seen that before. So that is my 30-card Gear deck, trying to replace Ties of the Brethren. Thank you for watching.